Okie dokie, guys and gals, we're going to rebuild this 4 carb set off of an 81 Suzuki GS650, and it is, I mean, locked up. There's nothing, even the butterflies won't won't move. It's got some ethanol varnish on it, so it's had some gas setting for a while. So the first thing we're going to do, we've got a bolt missing there. We're going to take our vice grips and go through and loosen all the bolts up, because you don't want to take a screwdriver or something else and risk rounding those screws off. So that's the first thing we'll go through, is we'll go through and get all these bolts loosened up and take those out, and take this front brace off and this bottom rear brace off, and loosen up our choke linkage, and get these 4 carburetors separated and start the rebuild process. Okay, we got all our screws taken out, and our brace rods on the top and the bottom have been removed, and the choke rod that was across there that had, well, dropped one, had these brackets on it that go here to pull out the choke, was just too far gone. We just had to cut it out, so we'll have to make one of those. But now the only thing that's holding the 4 carburetors together is the fuel system and the little O-rings between the two, so we can separate all these carburetors, and we will work one at a time. We'll make sure we got these marked, and we'll use our little restaurant pan tray that we do, and we'll start with this right hand side and start tearing it down. Okie doke, we've taken our float bowl off, and check that out. I mean, it's like tar. Right under there, there's intakes and jets. It's in rough shape. It's going to take a lot of cleaning. That's why I like to do 1 carburetor at a time on the pan. That way you don't misplace any parts. It's going to take a lot of cleaning to get this operational. The inside of this, I mean, like the slide won't even move. I mean, you can almost stick a screwdriver in there and try to pry it, and it's not going to move. A lot of cleaning needed on this, so we'll keep it tearing her down. Okie doke, we took a 14mm long socket and took the choke assembly out. We also worked around and finally got that slide and needle out. I mean, it was, I was beginning to look at it and thought, maybe, how in the world is that thing in there? But you can tell that, if you can see that varnish there on the side, I mean, that stuff's like glue. And it really had it welded in. So we've got all the stuff off of the carburetor that would be harmed by the dip. So we're going to dip this carburetor part and clean our other parts by hand. Okie doke, we've pulled our carburetor out of our dip. There's still a little bit of gunk collected on it, and we'll get that cleaned off by hand with a brush. And I want to show you what we're going to do. You can see what a big difference that's made in the inside of that. All that old varnish is gone, and that's the biggest reason we want to dip it. So now let's look at the float bowl, and I'll show you how we're going to clean it up. Okay, this is what our float bowl is looking like. That's what it looks like on the untouched side, and we're just taking a wire brush and the end of a drill. There's not really anything that you can do to damage these float bowls on the outside. It's all going to be cosmetic. So that's going to make a big difference in that how that carburetor looks. So we'll finish this up and do our hand cleaning on our float, and then we'll also brush the plunger and needle cap also to match this out. Okie doke, we've got our reassembly taken care of, and got our jets back in. These are factory jets. We just dipped those and cleaned them. So our float bowl is all clean, shiny there, and back to working. Our diaphragm plunger, I can set this up here so you can see it with just one hand. Well, if you can see that back in there. It's working nicely, moving back and forth the way it should. And that's our carburetor. We're going to put the float bowl back on it and show you what we're finished with. Okie doke. This is what we started out with. Quad set, and it was in terrible condition. That one barely moved there. Just all gummed up from gas setting. That's got some water in it from whatever it's infiltrated that, to a clean, usable, properly functioning carburetor. Now you can use these basic cleaning techniques on any carburetor really. There is some keys to running a quad set or a triple set or a dual set. You know, either get a cardboard box and mark your carburetors 1 and 2, or 1, 2, 3, and 4, or whatever, and have your parts in a tray just for that carburetor, and do one carburetor at a time. And they're fairly simple, and there's a lot of YouTube videos on there. If you get into your carb and have a problem, question or whatever, send me a message and I'll help you out with it the best I can. But there we go, and we'll see you next time.